All right, Taze, Highly Strung podcast. Here we are.
Have we started?
Yeah, we started.
Okay.
Fuck it.
Hello.
Highly strung. Are you feeling highly strung?
I'm not, but I'm about to.
You're about to be highly strung?
Yep. I feel that I'm about to change my whole way of being.
Your whole way of being.
And my thinking and
Your molecular structure
that. Yep.
is about to be just a vibration on such a higher level.
Yeah. I'm ready to take it up a level.
Okay, let's do it.
All right.
So first things first.
Tell me.
Look, it's the first podcast, it's the first episode, but they're going to find out a little bit more about us as we speak.
Yeah.
We can get straight into the experiments, into the metaphysical phenomena that scientists are baffled by today. Should we get straight into it?
Shit, I'm baffled by it.
Well, everyone is baffled by it. Literally everyone in the world is baffled by this.
And if you're not yet baffled, prepare to be baffed.
Baffed.
We're about to baff ya.
We're about to baff ya. So this experiment is called the Double-Slit experiment, and it is it's probably the most confusing phenomena for scientists to date, and no one can wrap their heads around this. And we don't know what it proves. There's a lot of theories out there. I've got some of my own, and you're going to have some of your own by the end of the episode.
I'm sure.
So
why are scientists so confused?
because
Why are they baffed?
they're baffed because it either proves that light itself is conscious, or it proves that nothing is in physical form until someone's looking at it.
Right. So light having a conscious means that it's got a personality.
It's got a personality.
So we got different forms of light personalities.
Right. And it's dependent on if there's an observer or not.
Right. So light only has a personality if it's being observed, or does it always have a personality?
Light is in superposition, so it's in every place at once until it's looked at, and then it's in one singular spot. But we never know where that spot is going to be.
Right. Okay.
So it's like musical chairs.
Okay. Well, who knew lights were playing these games?
They're playing these games with us.
So tell me what this experiment that's baffed the peeps.
The experiment that's baffed the peeps.
I'm a speaker of the people, and I think that's what they're hungry to know.
Yeah, so the peeps want to be baffed
Yeah.
by the double-slit experiment. Mm-hmm. It started in 1801 by some dude called Thomas Young.
Who I worked out is a polymath.
He's a polymath. We just did a quick wiki on him.
Basically, it's when you have like a plethora of knowledge in like
Different
many things.
Many things. So it could be music and then science and then philosophy and then...
Yeah. It has to be several things, and you're an expert in all of those.
Right.
fields.
So this guy was a nerd in like multiple categories.
Yeah.
He was really good at what he was doing, but in multiple things.
He's just...
And that's a polymath.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I want to be a polymath.
You're not smart enough.
Okay.
Sorry.
So
333.
where?
There.
Oh, there we go. What does that mean?
333. I don't know. I know the other ones, but not that one. Vic, do you know?
Do you know the 333?
Angel number?
So someone else who's highly strung is Victoria right now because her sister is in labour right now. So that's pretty exciting.
What I have explained to Jacob is that he doesn't understand the meaning of highly strung.
No. What does it mean?
It just means like you can be like easily affected by other people. It can like bring on like this anxiousness.
So 333? Yes, speak.
A call to embrace your creativity, self-expression, and spiritual growth. trust in your natural talents and abilities to guide you.
All right.
Is that fitting, considering we're starting an old pod day?
An old pod day for
A poddy
for
C?
two people you might say like to talk shit.
Yeah.
And
It's not so much liking it. I think it's just good.
Natural.
We're good at it. We
Words
are a
just come out.
polymath of talking shit.
We're a polymath. One of our polymaths is
Yeah.
talking shit.
Yeah.
We've got to find where the other polymath streams are.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's science. Hopefully it's quantum mechanics. Hopefully we win a Nobel Prize from this podcast because we explain the phenomena that all scientists, all the peeps are baffed by.
Could you freaking imagine?
Imagine that. Imagine they go, oh, I found this podcast on YouTube called Highly Strung. It's actually fucking crazy. Yeah, I reckon chuck them a Nobel Peace Prize. They figured it out.
So the people who are on the the Nobel Peace Committee, they're from like Montana South with that accent. Yeah, I seen this video of these people doing a podcast, and I think they're gonna win.
Yeah, shout out to my Montana South boys.
Okay, so highly strung is us. The theory is string theory. Shall we explain what that is?
Yep, not string theory just yet. String theory is related, but it's something.
What's
something
this
different.
experiment called?
This experiment is called the Double-Slit experiment.
Ah, right. Okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. I apologize.
Okay, but every episode, the whole podcast isn't going to be about the one experiment. We're going to be going through a bunch of different experiments, different phenomena, metaphysical phenomena that can't really be explained by Newtonian physics. And Newtonian physics is, gravity, the law of physics that scientists use nowadays. In the quantum world, turns out that those laws don't exist. There's no gravity. There's no, time doesn't really affect it. So in the quantum world, we're learning that there's different laws. So that's when you get into string theory and that sort of thing. So we'll be tackling.
We'll circle back to that.
Yeah, we'll circle back.
Yeah.
But there's a lot to get through. First, we're just going to tease you with a little bit of the double-slit experiment. So Thomas Young, a polymath from the 1800s, he was trying to figure out what is light? What's the property of light? What's its quality? It travels through space. We know that. So it travels through a vacuum at the speed of light, obviously, because it is itself light. And for example, sound is a wave, and sound needs other particles in the wave for it to act as a wave. So it's pushing particles against each other to create a wave. Like droplets of water, the wave comes through and it picks up those droplets. It's not the same droplets being carried the whole way through. It's picking up the droplets of water and it creates a wave through that. The motion of the wave goes through the particles.
Right.
But there's no particles in a vacuum in space.
How do we know that?
Because I don't know that. I've never been.
Well, neither have I. But
that's what a vacuum is. It's a lack of
particles
and matter, I guess. Yeah. So we know that for light to get from the sun to Earth, it's got to go through a vacuum. It's got to be a particle, surely. But once a particle has any mass to it, it can't travel at the speed of light anymore. So it's just everyone's baffed.
Yeah, I'm baffed. For the people at home, my face is shook.
What, one of baffed?
Yeah, I'm baffed. Because I have questions. How do we know that there's a vacuum, and what makes it a vacuum in space? Like what is?
Space itself is a vacuum.
Okay.
It's a vacuum.
Yep. Okay. And that is because it doesn't have
anything.
Gravity.
There's gravity. There's waves of gravity traveling through the universe all the time.
Right.
But gravity doesn't. It's not an actual thing.
Okay.
It's not physical. So gravity is another thing that we don't know. Is that a wave or a particle as well?
So we're just working out we don't know much.
We don't know much. We're going into this, we don't know much.
And I kind of like that we don't know much. And even scientists, sometimes I enjoy that we don't know much because we haven't figured it out yet. No. And I think that makes life's still exciting.
Exactly. There's so much shit that people don't know about.
Yeah.
And like the smartest, like in the past couple months, I've gone to see Brian Cox and Brian Greene, two of the like greatest physicists. Is that the word? Physicists. And just scientist explainers. They explain science really well. And I've gone to both of their lectures in Melbourne, and I've come away from it with way more questions than I had going in.
Yeah.
And even these guys still, there's question. You know, they're always figuring stuff out. But once they figure something out, they take one step forward, but they take 5 steps back.
Yeah, I think when you find out something, that old saying like answers only make more questions.
Right, and we've just sent out. I think
it's a song lyric actually.
Is it? Who by?
I don't know. I'm sorry.
But yeah, for example, our we're so technologically advanced now than we were 10 years ago. We've just sent out a telescope, the James Webb Telescope, out into space, and it's able to take photos of galaxies so far away. But what's happened is that we've found 6 galaxies that are so far away that they shouldn't exist. They are so old. The light, they're so far away that the time it took for the light to reach us is older than the Big Bang itself. And so that has created way too many questions. Now we're like, okay, what the fuck is going on? All the scientists in the world are going, okay, the age of the universe that we had is completely wrong, and this is... But it doesn't disprove our Big Bang. Maybe there's other Big Bangs. Maybe there's multiple Big Bangs.
I definitely think that there's multiple Big Bangs.
Or are we seeing into a parallel universe, a reflection of a parallel universe?
That too.
So it just opens up an amazing amount of questions after that.
Yeah. Almost too many questions.
Too many.
Shut it down.
Shut down the simulation.
Okay, so Double-Slit.
Double-Slit.
Double-Slits.
So this dude, Thomas Young, was like, okay, what is it? Is light a particle or a wave? So now my facts of the history of this experiment, I don't remember what the actual facts are of the dates and all that sort of stuff, but we're just going to talk about the experiment now.
Mm-hmm.
So let's start off with Thomas Young. He had 2 little slits.
So imagine, say, like a piece of paper.
Imagine a piece of paper and 2 tiny little slits right next to each other.
Yep. So he's gotten his old Stanley and he's cut a little line in.
Little line in, and then another little line right next to it. So he needs a 2.
Mm-hmm.
And he's shone light, a beam of light, just from a laser, through into it's hit the 2 slits, and then in the dark room on the wall behind. So the light's gone forward into both of the slits, and then it's interacted with itself. And what you get on the wall behind is all these bands of light. So all these streams of light.
So what do these bands of light
mean?
Look like?
They
what do
look
we
like,
see them as?
So we see them as we see light, a line of light, then a line of darkness, then a line of light, then a line of darkness, then a line of light, then a line of darkness. It keeps going until it gets brighter in the middle and then dissipates throughout on the edges.
Tiny heaps of tiny little bits of light, but he only cut 2 slits in the paper.
Correct.
So how do we see all these
other lights?
Yeah.
So then we have refraction. So we've gone. Imagine instead of the light, we're going to push water like a wave, and you've got the 2 slits still. The water's going to go into the slits, and then it's going to ripple out, and those ripples are going to interact with each other. You've got 2 ripples coming out of each slit. Well, sorry, 1 ripple coming out of one slit, 1 ripple coming out of the other slit, and they interact with each other, and then you get peaks and troughs, peaks and troughs, peaks and troughs. So the peaks are the light. So if we translate that back into the light, the peaks are the light, the troughs are the darkness, the peaks are the light, the troughs are the darkness, the peaks are the light. Yep.
And this is what's showing up on that wall.
On that wall. When we do the light experiment, it goes, okay, so light is a wave.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. We know that light is a wave.
Yeah.
Interesting.
The way that it moves, it has to interact with
itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so did we work out what light was made up of?
So we don't know what light is made up of
Okay.
yet. We still know it's energy,
Yep.
and it's photons. It's made up. Light is made out of photons, but it's how those photons, how are they? Like what's their quality? What's their principle?
Okay.
So for a few, let's say 100 years, my dates of the experiment are completely skewed. But we waited another, 150 years, let's say, until our technology became a little bit more advanced. So so they decided to go, all right, we're going to use an atom gun instead and shoot out little tiny little atoms.
Yeah.
And turns out the same thing happens
With the Nerf gun.
with the Nerf gun. With the Nerf gun shooting little atoms.
Yeah.
It's doing the exact same thing. So even physical objects like atoms are still interacting with themselves and creating bands of atoms.
Mm-hmm.
So we still have the same effect. Like, okay, so it's not even light. It's actually just anything.
Yeah, and didn't they change how many slits there were? So when they did one slit of light, it was only showing one like band.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they hid one of the slits and they only had one slit, and what you got on the wall behind was one band,
Yeah.
right? Which makes sense.
Yeah, it's only going through it. It's not interacting with anything else.
Yeah, correct.
It's just showing the one band through the one slit.
Yeah.
Add another slit, we've got the interaction, and we're seeing multiple bands.
Yeah, we're seeing multiple bands.
Yeah.
And then they've gone, okay, now we're going to... So now they're using this experiment with atoms now. You can do it with photons or atoms, but with atoms, it's a bit weirder because it's an actual physical thing now. So how are these physical things interact? Even when they're shooting them one at a time, they're still getting... So that's the weird part that I quickly skipped over. So they're shooting little atoms, but they're shooting them one at a time, and with enough space in between for them to not interact with each other. So when they're shooting it, it's going through one of the two slits, but what we're seeing behind is the many bands that the atoms are hitting.
So previously, they would just like piffing him through. Go.
And they're thinking like, okay,
Yeah.
they're interacting with each other, but now we're going to shoot them one by one, like a grain of sand. Imagine a grain of sand, one by one, but still they end up in all the possible areas that they could end up if we were shooting them all at once.
Through the two slits.
Right.
Right.
So that
Freaky.
is freaky. Okay, so that's freaky. What's the next step now?
What's even freakier is when they started to record it.
Right.
And they were like, okay, we want to see what's happening when they enter through this slit. What's going on? What are these atoms or grains of sand or beams of light? What are they doing? And so then they started to record it with a camera.
So they've created this tiny little camera to record, to have a look at how these atoms are going one by one and how they interact with themselves. Like how is the atom going and then splitting off into halves, going through the slit and then interacting with itself again and becoming whole again. They didn't know what the fuck was going on. So they're like, okay, we've got to create a camera. Create the camera zooms in real tightly on this double slit and to see as the atoms go in, what the fuck is going on there. And they're looking at the computer. They can't wait for the scientists. They can't wait to finally see what the magic is here. As soon as they go and have a look at the results,
Yep.
the light, the particles, the grains of sand, everything becomes two slits. You're on the wall behind. You're getting two slits now. You're not getting the bands anymore. You're only getting the two slits. They're like, okay.
So exactly what you think would happen.
What you think would happen.
They would go through and end up
and just stay straight.
Yep.
And you would just get the two slits equals two bands behind.
When you think of like pushing through or throwing through a grain of sand through a tiny slit, you would think that it would kind of
just go in a straight line
in one spot.
Yeah, exactly.
And so when they looked at this recording, that's
what happened.
Okay.
They became the two slits. They're like, oh, okay, that's weird. Maybe just go and turn off the camera at the wall. Just go and turn off the camera at the wall. They turn the camera off at the wall.
Did they turn the camera off?
Yep.
Where?
At the wall. The wall. Do you want me to say it one more time?
Yep.
So they turn the camera off at the wall, at the switch even, and they get the waves again. So they're getting the multiple bands behind. And they go, okay, so
What's happening here?
what the fuck's going on here?
Can you believe it? No, I can't.
I
So they
cannot.
investigate further.
They investigate further and they go, all right, turn the fucking camera back on,
Yeah.
back to particle. So if it's acting like a particle, you would get the 2 slits. If it's acting like a wave, you would get the bands. So we're going to say, instead of me saying bands now, we're going to say wave.
Mm-hmm.
And
Because that's what the particle does. It ends up creating these.
creating,
What a
acting
wave
like a
would.
wave.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then if it's only the 2 slits behind the 2 slits, then we'll call that a particle. So particle and wave. Wave is multiple bands. Particle is two bands. So they turn the camera on, and they're all looking at the computer. Particle. Turn the camera off. Wave. Okay, how about we
Record it and come back
record it onto a computer, and then, we'll have a look at the results
later.
in 10 minutes' time.
Yeah. Because we'll just leave it.
We won't look at it straight away.
Oh, I'm a bit thirsty. Are you thirsty? You want a cup
Yeah,
of tea?
a cup of tea. I need to go to the toilet.
Yeah.
Just chill out. Maybe just have a ciggy, whatever. What are the times now?
Yeah, it's
Are we still in
smoko.
1892 or is this 2005?
Yeah, we're not sure.
We're not sure. We're not sure here. At Highly Strung, we ain't sure.
We're actually coming to you from the future.
We are. Yeah.
But we'll more on that later.
Mm-hmm.
Or more on that some other time. So
We're gonna get into time pretty soon as well.
I can't wait for time.
So,
Time's ridiculous.
Well, time is right now, actually.
The time is now.
That we talk about the time. So we're gonna look at the results in 10 minutes time.
Mm-hmm.
They go look at the result in 10 minutes time, and the result is that it's a particle. So it's got the 2 bands. It's not, when they look at the measurement, all they see is the atoms or the photons or whatever. They're all just going right through the slits, perfectly straight,
Yeah.
and they're hitting the thing. Okay, so what if we record it in 10 minutes time, and then delete the measurement, delete the recording altogether?
But we're still looking at the back wall to
I
see.
can still see the back wall from
yeah,
here. Yeah,
I'm still looking at that, but I'm not going to look at the recording.
right.
But
So
we're waiting 10 minutes again.
we're waiting 10 minutes, and we're going to delete our recording.
Bye-bye.
So 10 minutes before, when they were doing the actual experiment, it's a wave.
Mm.
But they promised the light that they were going to turn it off.
Promised.
They did. They promised. They weren't fucking around.
Do you think it's light can hear? So did they say out loud, we're going to turn it off now?
They probably started off with that, and
Yeah.
then they tried to get sneaky.
Yeah.
They were trying to
Trying
turn
to
off,
outsmart light.
outsmart light. So in 3 months' time, we're going to look at it and then actually don't look at it. It knows when you're doing the experiment 3 months before whether or not you're going to look at it.
And how does it know that?
How does light know the future? How does light know exactly what you're going to do in 10 minutes' time, in half an hour, in 3 months, in 3 years, in forever?
So they didn't even look at the recording. They deleted it and
It was a wave.
it was a wave.
So while we're doing it, it's a wave. In 10 minutes' time, we're going to delete it. While we're doing the experiment, it's recording right now. All right, we're going to look at it in 10 minutes' time. Particle. All right, now camera off, wave, particle. So they've gone, okay, maybe is the fact that the camera's on looking at it, is that affecting the photons or whatever?
Yeah.
And some dude came up with this crazy maze system of mirrors just bouncing off each other.
Mirrors in itself, wonky.
Yeah, wonky. Look, an episode of Mirrors later.
Yeah. And mirrors and ego.
Ego.
That this is something that we can discuss. How mirrors and ego created ego to an extent, but that's what fucked it. That was the start of the fuckedness.
Oh, the inventions of mirrors created egos.
Yeah, but
Is that like...
it's not for now.
My dad would yell at me every time he'd catch me looking in the mirror when I was a kid.
Why is that?
Like if I was like doing my hair or something, he'd be like, don't be so vain.
Yeah.
Looking back, I'm like, shut the fuck up, Dad.
What did you say? Sorry, Dad.
Sorry, Dad.
Sorry,
Sorry, Daddy. I punched the mirror.
You punched a mirror.
I don't think I've ever punched a mirror.
No, I think breaking mirrors, like, I'm not superstitious, but I am. And I think breaking
We just
mirrors...
looked at 333 and asked what that meant.
Triple numbers. Numbers, numerology, that can have a lot of significance if you play into it. But then also, that's that whole thing, you know, when people... I feel like everyone went through a time where they would look at their phone and that number kept repeatedly showing up for them. Like, there was time when 9/11 happened for me, and I was like, what does that mean?
9/11's happening to me right now.
Okay, so someone's trying to talk to you.
Yeah.
I don't think that's what it means, but I'm thinking that someone is trying to talk to you.
Yeah.
So back to our
experiment. Well, that's the
end.
That's the end of the experiment that we need to know about right now. You can get deeper. You can get nerdier into it, but in summary,
we can edit that part out.
in summary, light is a wave, and it's in every position possible.
I thought you were going to say light is awake, and I say yes to that.
Oh, I say yes to that as well.
Light is awake, and it knows, and how it knows is because it has a conscience.
Right.
This is a theory.
This is your theory.
This is my theory, but I'm not stuck on it. I'm just thinking.
Yeah, think out loud.
That light has more to it than we think. I'm so sorry if that triggered anybody. That's my alarm. I have a dinner to get to. Yum, yum. So how does light know? This is maybe a question that I'm posing, is how does light know that it was being watched? That it knew that...
Does light know, or are they the rules of the universe that we live in? The fact that humans can't know how atoms and particles and light interact, how they actually behave.
Do you think...
Is the simulation not rendered enough
right.
for us to be able to...
So
that's just a theory.
I feel like the universe knows what humans are capable of. The universe knows everything. Yeah. Okay, the universe is everything.
All that is the universe.
Is the universe. So the universe would know that humans would eventually become capable of running scientific experiments.
Right.
So it already knows. So maybe it's just playing a game, and it's like, haha, you guys are going to go play this little experiment. You're going to be confused forever.
Forever. Fuck you.
Yeah. Oh,
but it'll keep us wondering.
Yeah.
Forever.
We're wrapping this up now?
We're wrapping it up.
Okay.
So in summary, this is the summary part.
Ding, 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 ding.
So the double-slit experiment is all about the observer, and that everything is in waveform until it is observed upon, and then it becomes a fixed point in reality.
Do you think that's just specific to humans? What happens if animals are different? Insects, birds, can they see?
I have absolutely no idea.
I think that there's going to be some sort of insect or some sort of something that can see that.
So, if a donkey was the one to look at the results,
that's what
would it change? Or is it the fact that the donkey has to be able to discern what's going on for it to actually... Like, if you put a child's toy, that's not going to do anything. Is a donkey's brain... Because it's probably not going to even be looking at the computer. It's going to be looking at the carrot behind the computer.
Oh, you spoke really fast then. But I don't think... Maybe it has to be a living form. But you
just said that light could be living now. So
light is living, I think. But what do we define as living?
Correct. What? That's
so many questions making my brain explode. I think that...
I've been thinking about this fucking experiment for like 2 fucking years now, and I've gone absolutely insane.
So you don't know any more than I do after the 2 years?
No, but it's led me on this quest to find out more about the fabric of reality and what the fuck is going on everywhere.
And so maybe without sounding too existential, what is the point of you finding out all the answers to these things? Am I questioning your whole being?
Yeah, if you want, but
Is that too hard?
No.
Damn.
It moved me from, so me personally, I started off very not the smartest dude, but like, everything's got to be science-based, science-backed.
You would think you were rigid in your thinking.
Very rigid in my thinking, like, all the greatest scientists out there, they know way more than me, and whatever they say has got to be, they know everything pretty much. And after finding this experiment, I've realized that there's so many people in the world that no one actually knows what the fuck's going on, really.
Well, I could have told you that before for free before this podcast.
And so there's a word that popped into my world that I
want to share right now.
That I want to share. It's called metaphysical, and it's the non-physical. It's everything but the physical.
Right.
So which is light, because we don't know what light is. It's not physical. It's not, it's a wave. It's not, we don't know what it is. So the metaphysical, but then it does move into spirituality.
And the supernatural.
And the metaphysical, the phenomena.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like there's a lot of people in the world right now who are going through a bit of a spiritual sort of, I don't know, call it an awakening, but like...
And we don't mean to shoo some of our listeners off by saying those words. It's more just like expanding your mind and your ways of thinking and just perhaps questioning everything. One man, old man, once said to me, question everything.
Question fucking everything.
And for some people, that's too hard. It's too overwhelming to question things. But we encourage you, we implore you to just question something. Question us.
Question us.
And
question this podcast.
Yeah. And you can ask questions to the one listener that we'll have. And it's probably going to be me. I'll probably listen to this.
You'll listen to it?
I'll listen to it because
that's one.
I like the sound of my voice, I think.
Yeah.
But maybe I just like it with the headphones on.
I think that's it for today.
Okay. High five.